Yeah, I am recording. Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome everyone to Friday, March 26th, RCOS Large Group. We're going to start off with project meetings, then status updates and grading, the upcoming workshops, a slight change to this week's status updates, which is mid-year review, then casual coding sessions, what's happening next class, and we'll end with attendance. So let's get started.
Okay, I'm going to apologize. I may have messed up the order of the slides because I put that mid-year stuff in with the status updates and grading, but we will find out. Maybe it's not. There may be some confusion. All right, so we have essentially today, Tuesday, and Friday, and it looks like, just looking by the numbers, it looks next week is a little sparse. I've got, I think, 5 groups I'm meeting with the entire week. So I am hoping that all of you have made your arrangements to talk with me. Every group should have made arrangements to talk with me. I'm going through my notes and everything, and I'll mark you. I'm making a note in your in that mysteriously appearing meeting gradable that no one could get to. I'm making notes there, or at least noting when I talk to y'all. So we will know who we've talked to, and you guys can find out, can correct me if we're wrong. But I think we must be pretty close to have met with everybody because there aren't a lot of people left. Still, we have one more week to go. So if you haven't met with me, please go out and meet with me. Again, this is so that we can come in and make sure that we that we know what you're doing, answer any questions you have, just to make sure that as we go through our year, that everybody has an opportunity to get and give feedback on the semester. So we are all the way out. Come on, it doesn't matter. You guys have seen this 100 times, so we don't have to show that any longer. But please make sure you sign up for it. And that brings us to who we're actually talking to today. It promises to be another exciting set of meetings. We have a full schedule. So Shuttle Trackers at 5:15. See Me is at 5:30. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Open Circuits is at 5:45. Rensselaer E-Commerce Dashboard is at 6. And Lavender, the programming language, is at 6:15. So we will meet with all of you. I'm going to just warn you, particularly the ones at 6 and 6:15. Depending on the projects and any technical difficulties, we could be running a little late by that point, but I will make sure that I get to every project on this dashboard before I shut down for the night. So we will talk to every one of you. All right. So we wanted to talk about status updates and mid-year reviews. And like I said, I may have messed up the rest of the slides because I set everything in here and didn't look to see what Frank had set up ahead of time. Normally we would like to have done this last week, maybe the week before, probably last week I think is generally when we would do it, but we have about 5 weeks left in the semester. We like to give you some feel for where you are. So somewhere around the middle of the semester is when we like to look at all the contributions you've made and kind of give you feedback as to where you are and whether you're coasting good or whether you need to kick it into gear. If you look at the way we ran the semester, the first two and a half weeks, we were just getting you set up with projects. You took a couple of days to get used to your projects, so that's maybe 3 weeks off the front. So it's a 15-week semester. We have about 5 weeks to go. So really, this is about in the middle of your contributions. So it is really, technically a kind of a mid-year review on your contributions. We would normally set up a specific mid-year review submission, gradable for this, but we've decided that instead we're going to repurpose or extend the purpose of this particular week's status update. For this status update only, after you put in your this week, next week blockers, please include a list of all your contributions that you want us to evaluate for this semester. So, go back through all of your previous status updates, grab all of those links, paste them at the bottom in the links section for this particular status update. And as we go through and review them as part of our status update review, we will take a look at your links as well and give you feedback as to, you know, kind of how you're going and what you're doing. I'll make a separate, you know, if you're used to getting your status update review, it's a 0, a 1/2, or a 1, I guess. We will put another section in there that tells you, gives you kind of a 1 to 5 on a 1 to 5 scale where you stand with regard to your the contributions you've been making. If you've done it before, you know what the format is going to look like. It's just that it's going to be incorporated in with the status update instead of requiring you to do a separate mid-year review. You know, you don't have to turn in 4 of your status updates. The mid-year review doesn't actually count for grades, so you are welcome to not turn it in. But if you don't turn it in, then you're flying blind. You know, so this is a good opportunity. Please, if you only turn in, you know, please use this opportunity to get feedback, so you know where you stand. So people ask, what are we looking for? It's really hard for us to give you an explicit idea of what we're looking for with regard to commits, because commits are many and varied. What we generally tell you is 2 to 3 high quality commits per week over the course of the semester. So every week we're looking for 2 to 3 high quality commits. If it's really long, right, you committed like 97 files in one specific commit, okay, do 1 that week. But we are looking for consistent contributions of meaningful material over the course of every week during the semester. If you have low quality or short commits, 5 to 6, maybe 8 to 10, depending on how short they are. They should be your contributions. So if you spent time looking at a resource on the web, we don't really want the link to the resource on the web. We want a link to you telling us how that fits in with your project and incorporating it maybe into the documentation of your project, either as part of a bibliography or a getting started guide or a useful materials guide, something like that. So, you know, don't just give us a link to somebody else's work. This should be your work. Your work can reference other people. You can talk about how you used, you know, an online tutorial to run through. You should point out any problems you had with the tutorial. You should give it a review. You should say what part of your project it helped you with. If you have issues with that, please come see me, a coordinator, any of the mentors. You know, we've been doing this for a long time. I think we all have a lot of ideas on how to incorporate learning activities into our projects, and it's something that we need to make sure we do in a positive way. So I'm going to give you a couple of example links. The first one, this is a good link. This is something that I did. I would give myself a good link on this one. And here it is. Lots of changes to CI/CD. As you know, maybe you don't know, but I'm running the open source software class today. I just did a module on continuous integration, continuous deployment. And as part of that, I had to revise a bunch of material. Here's the first file was an HTML file, you know, a web viewed file, browser viewed file. Here's the second one. We have as part of the lab, we have an exercise that breaks and then fixes a set of continuous integration tests. This was part of setting that up. I have another one that was to the text of the lab itself, because we had to change it up to use CMake instead of VTK. So you can see there's a lot of extensive tests. And then there was a binary file that I added so that people could look at and see what a pull request would actually look like under these conditions. So there's 4 files here. I think, if I'm counting correctly, maybe 5. I'm sorry, 10 files, 268 additions and 121 deletions. And this is akin to a walkthrough. This is, running through some code, fixing it, and documenting what you actually had to do. If we go back then, we can look at a bad link, right? Well, this bad link is for next week's documentation or next week's module on, no, sorry, it's on this one. And it's just a link to somebody else's page, GitHub Docs, on how to set up GitHub Actions, right? The first link references this. So I did go here. I did walk through this workflow. It became part of the notes that we used, but I can't reference this because this isn't mine. What I have to do is reference where I used it in my existing material. And then finally, here's a short link. These count. They don't count nearly as much, but they count. If you have to do something like this, you should, pretty much expect to have multiples of these in a week in order to make any real contribution. You'll see that all I did here was on my previous check-in, I missed one place where I had VTK and I had to make it CMake. So this is a very short link, and that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Good links, good contributions. They're long. Bad contributions, they're reference somebody else's material and not your own. And really short ones, well, maybe you had a typo and you had to fix VTK to CMake. So it's not going to count as much, but it still does count. So make sure that. Other things that count are issues, comments on issues, right? Show us what you did, give us pointers to it. Design documentation, all of that counts. Certainly code counts. One thing I want you to notice about this is I marked these as good, bad, and short. None of these actually had any code in them, right? There was code in the module, but none of the things that I had to change had any code in them, right? So you don't actually need to do code to get credit for contributions. There are lots of ways to get credit to contributions, including documentation that builds up your community. But it has to be substantive and it has to actually do something. I am done with that. Hunter?
Alrighty, so new workshops. We've got the WTG, which I don't know what that stands for. We've got a WTG info session.
Web Technologies
Group.
Yep.
I thought it might be that, but I wasn't sure and didn't want to say something wrong. So, all right, cool. We got that with Matt C. That is on the 31st. So the last day of the month at 1:30 p.m. We've also got Jack Trip with Alice. That is also on 31st, but that is at 3. So you could go to both if you want. I guess it's up to you. But all right, so that's all for workshops, I guess. Next slide, we've got a reminder for casual coding. If we go to the next slide.
Oh, sorry, I was reading and responding to comments. There we go.
No worries. But yeah, just a reminder about casual coding sessions. We still got those. We'll probably remove this slide at some point. I imagine most of you are familiar with it at this point, but just a reminder again, feel free to hop into any of these rooms at any time, empty or not. Basically just a couple rooms where you can potentially meet some people, have some chatting about different programming languages or really anything you'd like. Just a nice place to hang out if you want. So yeah, definitely check those out if you're interested. And off to Nia, I believe.
Yes. Mentors should submit proposals for workshops they'd like to give throughout the remainder of the semester. Projects, keep making contributions, keep working. Members, make sure you submit your status update for this week and keep making contributions to your project. And with that, I think we're ready for grading, for attendance.
Okay, okay, so I'm gonna, instead of typing these in, I'm gonna answer these up front. So the first one was from Leon about oh, Frank answered it. Okay. The first one was from Leon, and it's can you reference pull requests, which are actually series of commits instead of each individual commit? Yes, and Nia will hopefully publish her magic phrase for generating all of your links as well. You can post that as well. we're really good. We're really happy when you use shorthand and allow us to speed things up. So if we can go to a page that has all of your links, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to list each one of them individually if they're encapsulated in a pull request that lists each one of them individually. So that's absolutely fine. And then Frank answered Owen about how documentation requests count. That's why I put documentation links in here. Good was a little longer than maybe a standard code contribution, but that was a good contribution. You get a couple of those in a week, 3 of those in a week, you're doing well. But Frank has it right. It's a little bit subjective. If the extent of your contribution is running node and generating a project JSON.lock file or project lock.json file, that's an extremely long commit, but it's not really very hard, right? You run one command and you commit the output of that command into your repository. So it's a very long commit without a lot of effort on your part. So that would count as a small documentation commit. Just keep that in mind. We're looking. These are surrogates for us being able to tell that you did work. So since we can't be with you every hour of the day, believe me, you would not want me with you every hour of the day, and I would not want to be there. We would both get bored of it very quickly. And I eat smelly food. My wife says she doesn't like fish and stuff. Since we can't be there and see what you guys are doing, this is the surrogate for that, right? So the idea is to show us that you're doing something, and the way you do something, the way you do that is by putting things into the world. Anything else? Let's see. And yes, Frank also has this commenting on an issue saying, I have this issue too, versus I narrowed down what could be causing this to this file. Excellent point, Frank. Absolutely perfect. And then there is Nia's magic git log command. And yes, again, for Owen, when you read Frank's thing, saying you have a bug or you found a bug versus documenting it with screenshots and the steps you took to giving a replicable series of steps so that the person trying to do the debugging can actually establish the bug. That would be the difference. You get credit for reporting a bug. You get a lot of credit for backing it up with screenshots that show what was going on, with a step-by-step what you need to do to replicate it, etc. So the more you give, the more work you put in, the better off it actually does. Make sense? Okay, let me see. And I just moved my mouse off the screen, so it went to the other computer. Yep. And Frank has this exactly right. This is why we ask you to do your mid-year, to give us all of your links in your mid-year review, so we can actually take a look at them. We'll let you know. We'll give you our evaluation, and you can tell us where we're wrong. Assuming we could ever be wrong. Okay, so submitting attendance. This is my last little rant for today, I guess. So you have to ask yourself why we take attendance at RCOS, right? We don't have tests. We don't have hard assignments. We ask you to do a bunch of things during the year that build up to a project. What we're trying to do is we're trying to let you do independent research and then figure out that you actually did work to do independent research, right? So that's not really a very easy thing to do. It's not easy. It makes it hard for us to differentiate somebody who worked really hard but didn't have a lot of output versus somebody who didn't work hard but checked in a lot of project JSON lock files. This is not a hard and fast class to grade. So we give you things like status updates to keep you on track, and so that we get feedback where you are, so that if people are falling behind, we can catch them and get them, help them make progress. So attendance is part of that process. We need a way to make sure that we know you are there. We know that you're working. You haven't disappeared for 9 weeks and show up at the end and you haven't done anything. We're trying to keep that from happening. We're trying to make sure that any information we pass on to you, like all the information today, this is going to run less than half an hour, this meeting. But it's a very important meeting because we did a lot of exposition on what counts for a commit, what you guys have to do, what the rest of the semester looks like, etc. So, we need to have this ability to communicate with you. It's hard enough when we're all on campus together. We still take attendance at that time, but we can do it by actually seeing you there. But right now, we don't know, when we put something out into the ether, we don't know whether anybody sees it or not. At least if we're taking attendance, if you're certifying that you saw either synchronously or asynchronously the output of this meeting, right, then we can have a warm fuzzy that, yeah, everybody knows that if they put in their links in their status update for this week, we will evaluate them and give them some idea of where they stand this semester. And then finally, we're trying to build a community here. RCOS is supposed to be an open source community. And we're an open source community that's a little weird in that we embrace multiple different open source projects, but you can't have an open source community without some kind of shared culture and shared meeting times. And that's part of the other thing that this is taking up. This is giving us a workspace. It's giving us, it's helping us share some culture, and it's helping us to hopefully build up community. And that's really part of what we want to get out of this, is a vibrant open source community at RPI. So, taking attendance is important. We need you guys to certify that you're showing up. And just for those of you who were irritated at your mentors for yelling at you or suggesting that you needed to not share submittee passwords, that came directly from me. Okay, I asked that they reach out and give you guys, I found out that people were sharing the attendance thing, and it just kind of breaks all of these, right? People aren't showing up, no community building. I can't get information to you, so I'll end up with people at the end of the semester saying, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Well, it was in 7 different meetings. So I asked that they reach out to you and stop sharing the catchphrase so that people didn't have to review the recording, right? We had 15-minute recordings, double speed, that's 7.5 minutes. That's not do that twice a week. That's a quarter of an hour a week that we're actually asking you to certify that you're doing. So anyway, any issues, come to me. They arise from me, right? Don't blame your mentors. They just did what we asked you to do, what we asked them to do. And please take this seriously. I don't want to have to be too much harder on the attendance, but I do need to know that when I get an attendance from you, you actually saw the material we gave you. Which brings us to our new attendance policy. We've been using 2 attendances because we were beta testing Venue. Well, we've now gone through almost 2 full semesters of beta testing Venue, and it's been working pretty good. Venue is much better at this than Submittee is, because Submittee, if somebody tells you the secret password, if I give you any reasonable time to watch the video, you can put in the secret password and get credit. On the other hand, Venue has a time lock on the QR codes. And after that, you actually have to view the entire recording, or I think I have it set at a threshold of 80% of the recording to get credit. So we're going to try going just with Venue. I will say that if you have issues, please contact me on Discord or via email, but we seem to have Venue working fairly well. You can join the course we'll post these slides I believe are already posted, right, Frank?
Yes, they should be in the slides channel.
Yeah, go to the slides channel and Yeah. No, you should be able to go and log into Venue, and then from Venue you can scan the QR code that I'm going to give you in just a minute. You can do that live. If you can't do that, if you're watching this asynchronously, all you need to do is go on Venue and view it once I've uploaded it before midnight tomorrow. And as long as you watch it through, it will mark you as having attended. All right, so that will be from now on our major way of doing attendance. I expect we'll have a few hiccups this time through, but this way we don't have to put the onus on our mentors to monitor channels for passwords, which I don't like doing anyway. Instead, we'll use our technology that we've been dry running for the last 8 months. If you have questions, if you have issues, please contact me on Discord or via email. I'm expecting there will be some, but I'm also expecting that they'll be short-lived and we'll get you all on Venue working correctly fairly easily. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to head off to Venue Land. You won't find a submission thingy here today. Instead, our Venue course should be running live. And by the way, just to keep you guys on your toes, there's the possibility I will give this at the start of the meeting next time or at some future times. So if you miss it, then you got to watch it. Anyway, here's today's lecture. Here's the check-in. There is the magical mystery code. I can make it bigger by doing this. All right, so go to Venue, sign in, scan the code, and Venue is an active project. If you look at the okay, so a lot of questions going by. Yeah, Venue is an active project. If you go to GitHub and look for Venue, well, if you follow this link, I think there's an issue tracker on here as well. Or you can just send email to. We have all of these available. Down here. There we go. If you click at the bottom of the Venue screen on the little GitHub guy, it will take you to the Venue GitHub. You can file an issue tracker. What you do is you go into Venue and then you scan the issue tracker as part of your attendance. I can't do it because I'm not a member of the team. I'm sorry, I'm an instructor, not a student. I have the QR code doesn't work for me. Yeah, if you can't get onto Venue, then let me know and I will add you or find a way to add you. But I think you should be able it should be an open course and you should be able just to get in by following that link. Once you're there, Frank, can any of you guys scan the QR code? Do you want to show them? Can you kind of show them what it looks like or how it appears? I can give you control.
I'm not sure if I'm able to because I think I'm in as a mentor or a TA. I don't think that's me.
I'm also in as a TA.
And then it doesn't let you scan it.
Okay, that's where the issue is that we're all special.
Anyone non-special want to share it? Not that anyone is actually not special, but
Everybody's
Any
special.
regular students?
Yeah. Hold on. This is it comes in as Turner too. Yeah. If you're having problems, DM me. My understanding is that you need to go into the class itself, and then there is a way to upload your registration. Um, and down here is the little link. At the bottom here is the little link with the Octocat that if you have issues, you can actually submit an issue request. We do have 76.4% of you who have managed to do this correctly. So, and most of you came in as new users. So I'm thinking that it must generally work. But if you send me stuff, I will, if you tried, I will get you entered here. Please hit me on a DM or something though, because this meeting goes away as soon as the chat goes away as soon as we're done, and I don't even know that there's a way for me to upload it. All right, and don't worry, we will get. Go ahead, Frank. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention I got a few DMs. If anyone DM'd me, I'm making sure your name is down. So it might be something if you joined Venue recently, but all you have to do, let us know, and we'll put you in. So as long as you tell us, that's all you have to do.
Yeah, we'll make it work. And once we have this working, I no longer have to run a unification between this and Submittee, so I should be able to get you feedback. Ethan, do you want to pop that into the chat? Jenny, if you watch on mobile, as long as you watch it on, it should be fine. Yeah, Owen, if you want to share your screen, go ahead.
Okay, give me just a.
I'm gonna
second.
unlock me, and I'll lock you. There you go.
All right, you should be seeing Venue, right? This is just the Venue homepage, right? And so, oh, it disappeared. It was right here. Is it closed now, or is it this? Well, this is a pretty bad demonstration because I actually can't see it anymore.
What if you go to the student sessions and click the RCOS drop down? Oh, why do you have two of them?
Good question.
A lot of interesting things going on here.
It was just showing. I guess I shouldn't have refreshed. Oops.
Isn't that the bottom?
Is it?
I see it there at the bottom in rainbow.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. I think it's probably because I already did it. There's the QR button here, and you just click it.
Of course,
not showing up anymore.
Yeah, your QR. But so this is what it looks like. You would have a button up in this area that says QR code, and you click it, and then you take a picture of the QR code, right? Oops.
Yeah. Keep in mind you have to use Venue on your phone, because if you use it on your computer, then you can't scan your own screen with your webcam.
You can sort of now. They've added a feature for that where it can basically do a screen share to itself almost, and then it can pick up the QR code. They've gotten smarter.
All right.
You probably could do that on mobile too, but that I have no idea.
All right. So I am going to go off, and I'm going to close this down. Anybody still has Yes, if your screen looks like Owen's and it's 100% green, then you're all copacetic. And it should, and part of RCOS is we need to support our open source projects, and this is a way to support our open source projects. So, so that's cool. And let's see. I am now at this point late for my other meetings. So we are running a little bit behind. These are all the people who have responded so far, and of course, it doesn't appear to be in alphabetical order, which is, kind of unfortunate. I'll make this a little bit smaller so we can see everybody, maybe. Then again, maybe not. It doesn't look like it wants to let me do that. I'll just scroll down a little bit. If you're on here, I have you. If you're not on here, I may not have you yet. Okay, so this should be everybody at some point. And like I said, let us know if you have problems. We expect some hangups this first couple of times when we're doing it for everybody. But if we don't ever pay the price, then we never get to experience the full glory that is Venue. All right. I am going to shut down the meeting now, and I'm going to go to my first meeting for today. I will upload this video. If you are watching this remotely, well, then just watch till the end, and you will get credit. All right. And just as a final thing, here's the final view of the QR code. Okay, and anybody who get it, please, DM me or email me. This is going to go away as soon as I shut down the meeting. So, and I need to shut down the meeting to go. And again, don't worry about it. We will make sure that people who are here get credit for it. And Nick is still having the problems with not being able to unmute everybody, and I apologize for that. It is a issue with WebEx that I can get around by doing an uncheck and then a check, but I forgot to do it this time. All right. So thank you all. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you all on Tuesday. And continue working. Yeah, just send me in. Just send it to me, Nick. We'll get it working. It's just going to take maybe till Tuesday. We'll see you all later.